God's strong hand is over my life. You're not alone holds a depth of meaning that stretches across the very fabric of our existence. It speaks of an unseen force that guides, supports, and sustains us through every trial and triumph. But what if I told you that this force is more than just a lifeline? What if I told you that this invisible hand has been there, carrying you, even when you couldn't see it? What if I told you, in the darkest times when you felt alone, there was something far stronger than your fears, far more enduring than your doubts, holding you? You might ask, how could something so invisible be so powerful? How could you, in your most fragile moments, feel the grip of something so real and undeniable? Stay with me, for the truth will unfold, step by step, in ways that might just change everything you believe about your own life. So let us embark on a journey not of sight, but of faith, not of distance, but of connection, as we begin to unravel this powerful truth together. I wonder, how often have you found yourself standing at the edge of the unknown, gazing into the vastness of life's uncertainty? Have you ever asked yourself, why does it feel like the weight of the world is upon my shoulders? Or perhaps, where do I turn when it feels like everything is slipping through my fingers, like I am slipping slowly but surely into a place of despair? I've been there too, we all have. At one point or another, we find ourselves alone, or so it seems, surrounded by darkness, perhaps by the noise of the world. Yet somehow there's still a whisper of something greater, something that keeps us moving forward, keeps us breathing, keeps us living. But where is it coming from? Where does it come from when we have nothing left to give, when our hearts are tired and our minds are weary? Imagine, if you will, a time in your life when you felt as though everything was falling apart. Your dreams, your plans, your hopes scattered like sand in the wind. Maybe you felt misunderstood. Maybe you felt abandoned. Maybe you were in the depths of despair, questioning everything you thought you knew about life. Yet, even in that place of uncertainty, you found the strength to take the next step. You found the courage to rise from the ashes, even when it felt like no one could see your struggle. The truth is, we all go through moments where we feel like we're fighting battles that no one else can see. We wear our struggles in silence. We cry behind closed doors. But even in those moments, we are never truly alone. Some may say it's the power of sheer will, the strength of the human spirit that keeps us going. Some may speak of love from family, friends, or even from within ourselves. But I say there is something more, something greater that holds us when we cannot hold ourselves, something that pulls us out of the depths even when we cannot find our way. It is a force that moves through us, around us, and sometimes even for us without our knowing. It is not bound by our understanding, not confined to the limits of what we can touch, see, or hear. It is something that has been there all along, waiting for us to reach out, even when we didn't know we could. You see, life has a way of testing us. It challenges our resilience, our faith, and our endurance. It pushes us to the brink, asking, how much can you bear? It tells us that our limits are here and no further. But what if I told you that your limits are only an illusion? That beyond what you believe you can bear, there lies a wellspring of strength that you have only begun to tap into. A strength that's not just from you, but through you. This power, this unseen force, has been with you, in you, long before you realized. It walks beside you in your darkest hours. It picks you up when you fall, and it guides you with a wisdom that transcends all understanding. In your weakest moments, it is there, not only holding you up, but pushing you forward. Now, let us pause for a moment. I want you to think. Think of a time when you felt like giving up. Think of a time when the weight of everything you carried seemed too much. Remember that feeling of helplessness, that moment when you thought, I can't do this anymore. But then you did. You kept going. Why? What gave you the strength to continue when everything inside you screamed to stop? That was not just your own willpower. That was something far greater than you, something unseen, yet undeniably real. Maybe it showed up in the form of a kind word at just the right moment. Perhaps it appeared as a small, unexpected blessing in the midst of chaos. Maybe it came in the form of someone reaching out to you, offering a hand when you thought there was no one left to help. But no matter the form, it was there. And though you couldn't see it, you could feel it deep down. That is the hand that has been there all along, the hand that will never leave you, even when you are convinced you are standing alone. There are times, perhaps, when we question whether we are worthy of such strength. We ask ourselves, why me? Why should I be the one to receive this support when there are so many others suffering more than I am? But the truth is, this hand, this force, doesn't pick and choose based on worth. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, or what you've done. It doesn't matter how broken you feel or how lost you seem. It is there for all of us, in our joy and in our pain, in our victories and in our defeats. It holds us steady when we cannot hold ourselves, and when the storms of life threaten to drown us, it is the anchor that keeps us grounded. And so I ask you to look at your own life, reflect on those moments when you felt most alone, most abandoned, most helpless. And then I want you to ask yourself this question: was I really alone? Or was there something greater, something stronger that was holding me all along? You see, in our darkest moments, it is easy to forget that we are never alone. In the midst of pain, it's hard to see beyond the moment, to believe that there is something greater working in our favor. But it is in those moments, those very moments of doubt, that the strength we need is already within our grasp. Now, let me leave you with this: you are not alone. Even when you feel like you are standing on the edge, even when it seems like the world has turned its back on you, there is someone holding you. And that hand, that force, will never let go. You may have heard it said that the toughest battles are fought in the silence of our hearts. I want you to pause for a moment and think about that, because there's truth in it. Life is loud. It's loud in its demands, in its expectations, in the voices telling you that you are not enough or that you can't possibly make it. Life's noise can drown out the very thing that keeps us going: the still, quiet voice that speaks without speaking, the hand that guides without being seen. It's easy to miss in the chaos, but it's there, stronger than any voice that tries to tell you otherwise. The question is, can you hear it? I've often wondered during those moments when it feels as though I've reached the very edge of what I can endure, how it is that we find the strength to rise again. When you feel like you've been ground to dust, when you wonder how you'll keep going, it is then that something miraculous happens. It's not a grand gesture, not an event that will make headlines. It's something small, something quiet, and something so powerful it defies description. It's the knowing that no matter how far we feel from hope, hope is never far from us. It's that gentle, unseen hand that lifts us in ways we may never fully understand, but always feel. Think about the times when you felt lost, truly lost. Maybe you were at a crossroads, unsure of where to go, unsure of who to turn to. The path seemed unclear, and the future even more so. The noise of uncertainty echoed in your ears. And yet, even in the midst of that, something kept you moving. It wasn't your own determination, not your own strength alone. It was something else, something far more sustaining than you can imagine. You see, our greatest moments of growth, our greatest moments of strength, often come when we are on the edge of breaking. And that's when the hand is there, carrying us, guiding us, supporting us, even when we cannot see where the next step will lead. I know you've felt it, the undeniable push to keep going, even when every part of you says to stop. That internal whisper that encourages you to rise from your knees when the world has knocked you down. It's not just a force of will, it's more profound, more enduring. It's a presence that stands with you in every moment, not just the good ones. It's a hand that stays close, even in the moments when you feel farthest from it. Even when you feel as if you're walking a lonely road, this presence is walking with you. The only difference is that sometimes it is felt through the simplest things: the unexpected kindness of a stranger, the smile of someone who cares, or the quiet calm that settles over your heart when you feel like you can't go on. It's easy to forget, especially when life is hard, that we are never alone. The struggle is real, yes, and it's painful. There are days when you may feel overwhelmed by the weight of the world, as though you're carrying burdens you were never meant to bear. But even in those days, there's something else happening. The very burdens you think are breaking you are shaping you. You are not simply enduring for the sake of enduring. No, you are becoming. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And though it may not be obvious now, those struggles are part of something far greater, something you cannot yet see. Every painful step you take is preparing you for something that lies ahead. Every challenge is building you into the person you are meant to be. And through it all, through the struggle and the pain, there is a hand that never lets go, that never stops guiding you, that never stops holding you. I've heard it said that strength isn't about never falling. It's about falling and getting back up, no matter how many times it takes. And this is where the power of the hand, the power of this unseen force, becomes so incredibly evident. For every time you've fallen, there has been something lifting you, even if you couldn't see it at the time. The hand isn't just there in your victories, it's there in your defeats, your mistakes, and your heartbreaks. It's in every moment you think you cannot go on, yet you find the courage to continue. It's the reason you're still standing. It's the reason you're still breathing. It's the reason you're still moving forward, even when it feels like the world is pulling you backward. We are all walking a path that is uniquely our own. No two journeys are alike. Yet in the vastness of our differences, there is one common thread. It is the thread that connects all of us to something greater than ourselves, to something more profound than anything we could ever fully comprehend. We may not always see this thread, but it is there, woven through every moment of our lives. It is what keeps us going, what sustains us when we are weak, what heals us when we are broken. It is the hand that we cannot always see, but that we always feel, even in our darkest moments. And while the journey may feel lonely at times, we are never truly alone. This hand is always there, and it is leading us to a place where our strength is no longer defined by our own limitations, but by the boundless potential that is unlocked through the journey itself. But I know that sometimes, in the middle of the night, when the silence is loudest, when the world feels like it's pressing in from every side, it's hard to remember this. It's hard to hold on to the truth that we are never alone, that there is something guiding us even when we can't see the way. And that's when it's most important to remember. That's when it's most crucial to trust, even when trust feels like a distant memory. Trust that no matter how far you fall, no matter how lost you feel, there is always something, someone holding you. As you go forward in your own life through the struggles, the triumphs, the heartbreaks, and the celebrations, remember this one thing: you are never alone. Even when the world feels too much to bear, there is an invisible force holding you up, carrying you, guiding you with a love that is beyond comprehension. It is with you in every step you take. It is with you in every tear you shed. It is with you when you feel like you can't take another step, and it is with you when you rise again. So the next time you find yourself standing on the edge, wondering how you'll make it through, know that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to see the way ahead. You don't have to know what tomorrow holds. All you have to do is trust that the hand is there, holding you steady, leading you towards something greater than you could ever imagine. Trust that you are never truly alone, for there is strength in you that is far greater than you know. You are being held even now. And in that there is peace, there is hope, and there is strength enough to carry you through anything that life throws your way. There is a sacred rhythm to life, one that beats even when we are unaware of it. When you think about it, life is a continuous movement, a dance that happens whether or not we can hear the music. Sometimes we find ourselves caught in the dissonant chords, the moments when we struggle, when we feel unmoored and unsure of the next step. Yet, in those very moments, the rhythm does not stop. It is still there, subtle and constant, flowing beneath the surface. And the hand, the unseen force, is there with it, weaving its way through the fabric of our existence, guiding us through every step, whether we feel it or not. We live in a world that often praises strength in isolation, in self-reliance, in the individual who stands alone and conquers against all odds. But I ask you to reconsider this notion. What if strength is not measured by our ability to stand alone, but rather by our willingness to acknowledge that we are not alone? That our strength is found not only in our own efforts, but in the unseen forces, the silent support, and the quiet guidance that carry us when we are too tired to carry ourselves. When you feel like you've reached the limits of your strength, when you're convinced you can no longer take another step, that's when the invisible hand steps in, not as a sign of weakness, but as a manifestation of a greater power at work, one that is intimately connected to you. Life's journey is rarely linear. We often find ourselves stepping off the path, veering into the unknown, questioning if we will ever find our way back. But here's the truth: you are never lost. Even in those moments when the path seems unclear, even in those moments of doubt and confusion, there is something guiding you. Even when your heart aches with the weight of your struggles, even when the world feels as though it has turned its back, you are not abandoned. The journey is not about finding the easiest path. It's about learning, growing, and being carried through the very challenges that seem to defeat us. Do you remember a time when you felt that you were walking in darkness? A time when your world seemed gray, when the sun didn't seem to shine as brightly and you couldn't see the way forward? I want you to think about that moment and then reflect: did the darkness swallow you whole? Did it define who you were? Or did you find your way step by step out of that place? I'll tell you this, if you found your way, it wasn't just your own strength that pulled you out. It was something far greater. Something that worked through you, through the quiet decisions, the small acts of courage, the moments of grace you never expected. I remember a time in my own life when I felt as though I was walking through a storm. The winds were harsh, the rain was relentless, and the world seemed as if it was unraveling around me. I didn't know how I would make it through, how I would face another day. But there was something in me, a quiet voice, a flicker of light that refused to be extinguished. It wasn't a loud proclamation or a dramatic revelation. It was a subtle, steadfast force that urged me to keep going. Every step I took, no matter how small, was met with resistance. But as I moved forward, I began to realize something. The more I trusted, the more I surrendered to the process, the stronger I became. I think we often underestimate the power of surrender. We think of surrender as weakness, as giving up. But surrender is not about losing control. It is about letting go of the illusion that we can control everything around us. It is about allowing ourselves to trust, to believe, and to know that we are not walking this path alone. The hand that holds us doesn't require us to have all the answers. It doesn't ask us to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. It simply asks us to trust, to take the next step, and to believe that we are being carried towards something greater than ourselves. You see, sometimes the struggle is not in the circumstances we face, but in how we respond to them. We fight against the current, we resist the change, we push back against the storms of life. And in doing so, we make the journey harder than it needs to be. What if, instead of fighting against the challenges, we chose to flow with them? What if we recognize that the struggles we face are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth, for strength, for transformation? What if we embrace the hand that is guiding us, even when we don't understand why we're facing what we're facing? There is something incredibly powerful in acceptance. When we accept that we are not alone, when we accept that we don't have to figure everything out, when we accept that there is a greater plan at work, we begin to feel the weight of the world lift from our shoulders. The pressure to have all the answers, to control every aspect of our lives, is no longer there. We are free to be, free to grow, free to trust the process. And in that freedom, we find the strength to rise higher than we ever thought possible. In your life, you will encounter storms. You will face trials, heartache, and moments when you feel as though you can't go on. But what I want you to understand is that the storms do not define you. They are simply part of the journey. They are the tests that shape you, that build you, that refine you. And in those storms, there is something more powerful than the rain, more steadfast than the wind, and more unshakable than the thunder. That something is the hand that holds you, the presence that guides you, and the strength that carries you, even when you cannot see it. It's important to remember that your journey is yours and yours alone. No one else can walk it for you. No one else can face the challenges you face or live the life you are meant to live. And that's okay. Because within you is everything you need to navigate this journey, to overcome the struggles, to rise above the hardships. You are not here by accident. Your life is not a random series of events. Every step you take, every challenge you face, is part of a greater story. And though you may not always understand the story in the moment, trust that there is purpose behind it all. I want you to think about your own strength. I want you to think about the times in your life when you thought you couldn't go on, when you thought you were done. And yet here you are. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still moving forward. That is not just your own doing. That is the hand that holds you, the unseen force that carries you even when you can't feel it. It is with you now as it was with you then, and it will continue to be with you in the days ahead. You are never alone. As you move through life, through its ups and downs, through its challenges and triumphs, always remember this: you are not alone. The hand that has been guiding you, holding you, and supporting you is with you now and always. And no matter where life takes you, no matter how dark the path may seem, you will never have to walk it alone. The rhythm of life will continue, and the hand will continue to guide you, leading you toward a future greater than anything you could ever imagine. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you never will be. There are moments in our lives when we stand at the crossroads of our own existence, when the choices we make seem so monumental that we question whether we are even capable of making the right decision. We feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, the burden of expectation, of fear, of uncertainty. In those moments, it can seem like the noise of the world is deafening, drowning out the quiet, steady voice that calls us forward. But I want you to know something incredibly important. Even in the moments when you feel most alone, you are not truly alone. That voice, that guiding presence, is always there, often just beneath the surface of our awareness, waiting for us to listen, waiting for us to trust. So often we look for signs, for clear answers, for undeniable proof that we are on the right path. We seek reassurance from the world around us, from the people in our lives, from the outcomes of our efforts. But what if the sign you're looking for has always been within you? What if the reassurance, the strength, and the guidance you seek have been a part of you all along, quietly working in the background, ready to step forward when you need it most? The truth is that the journey we walk is not about always having the answers. It is not about certainty or perfection. It is about trusting that we are guided, that we are not navigating this life alone, no matter how isolated or uncertain we may feel. There is an incredible power and trust of power that allows us to let go of the need to control, to understand, to see every step clearly ahead of us. When we trust in the process, when we trust in the unseen hand that holds us, we allow ourselves to be carried through the toughest of times. And when we surrender to this process, we begin to realize that we are far stronger than we ever imagined. Think back to a time when you felt completely unprepared for what life threw your way. Maybe you didn't know how you were going to make it through. Maybe you were filled with doubt and fear. But somehow you did. Somehow you found the strength to keep going, even when you thought you couldn't. That strength didn't come from your own limited resources. It came from something greater. It came from the hand that held you when you couldn't hold yourself. It came from the unseen force that has always been with you, even in your darkest moments. There is a beautiful paradox that we must learn to embrace. In our weakest moments, we often find our greatest strength. When we feel most helpless, we are often closest to the power that will carry us forward. When we are broken, we are open to being mended in ways we never expected. Life has a way of breaking us down, but it also has a way of building us back up stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And the hand that guides us, that supports us, is the constant presence that ensures we never stay broken for long. As you continue on your journey, there will be moments when you feel like you are walking through a fog, when the way ahead is unclear and the road seems impossible to navigate. But even in that fog, the hand is there, leading you step by step, guiding you through the confusion and the uncertainty. There will be times when you feel like you've lost your way, when the noise of life seems too loud to hear anything else. But even in that noise, the quiet, steady presence remains. It never leaves. It never falters. It is always with you. This is the strength you carry, the strength that comes not from your own will, but from the force that works through you. This strength is the quiet assurance that even in your hardest moments, even in your lowest points, you are not alone. You are part of something much greater than yourself, a vast web of life that connects us all. And in that web, you are held. You are carried. You are loved. And so I ask you to take a moment and reflect on your own life. Think of the times when you felt as though you were standing on the edge, unable to see the way forward. Think of the moments when the weight of your challenges felt unbearable, when you wondered how you could possibly make it through. But then somehow you did. You made it through, and you came out on the other side stronger, more resilient, and more connected to the truth that you are never truly alone. Even when you feel like you're walking in the dark, even when you can't see where the next step will lead, trust that the hand is still there. Trust that you are being carried, even when you can't see the way. The path may be unclear, the journey may be difficult, but you are never without support. You are never without guidance. You are not alone. The journey is not about finding the right answers, not about controlling every aspect of your life. It is about trusting, surrendering, and knowing that there is something, someone that holds you through it all. And that something is the hand that has been with you from the very beginning. It is the strength that flows through you, that moves you forward, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. It is the force that ensures you will never walk this path alone, no matter how dark the night or uncertain the road ahead. And for that, you can rest assured you are never, ever alone. There are moments when we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of our existence, feeling the weight of every choice and every possibility. The questions swirl around us, pulling at our very essence, forcing us to look deeper into the fabric of our lives. What will tomorrow bring? What if I make the wrong decision? What if I'm not strong enough to face what's ahead? These are the questions that come in the quiet moments, in the stillness when everything else fades away and we're left with nothing but ourselves and the vast uncertainty of what's to come. In those moments, it is easy to feel lost. It's easy to feel that we are alone in the midst of the uncertainty, that the challenges we face are ours to carry alone. But what if I told you that even in those moments when the weight of the world feels too much to bear, you are not alone? That there is a strength greater than yourself that is working through you, guiding you, carrying you through it all. We live in a world that often values independence, strength, and the ability to stand alone. We are taught to be self-sufficient, to rely on our own abilities, and to face life head-on with determination. But the truth is, there is a power that is greater than any of us. It is not a power that asks us to go it alone, but one that supports and uplifts us through every moment. This power, this presence is not distant or unreachable. It is always with us, even in the moments when we feel the most vulnerable, the most uncertain. It is the hand that reaches out when we don't know how to move forward, the whisper that encourages us to keep going when we feel like giving up. It is the force that guides us, the energy that fuels us, and the love that surrounds us. It is easy to get caught up in the idea that we must always be in control, that we must always have the answers. But the truth is, we don't need to have everything figured out. We don't need to see every step ahead. What we need is to trust, to believe that even when we don't know the way, we are not walking it alone. We need to trust in the unseen hand that holds us steady, even in the most turbulent of times. For it is in those moments of surrender, when we let go of the need to control and allow ourselves to be guided, that we find the strength we never knew we had. I want you to think about the times in your life when you felt as though you were on the edge, when the world seemed to be closing in around you, when it felt like there was no way out. You've been there before, haven't you? We all have. The weight of it all, the suffocating pressure of life's demands, the uncertainty of what comes next. And yet somehow you found your way through. Somehow you kept going even when you thought you couldn't. You may not have known it at the time, but there was something guiding you, something that kept you moving forward even when you didn't know how. The hand that guides us is not always seen, but it is always felt. It is the quiet force that pushes us forward when we are too tired to take another step. It is the presence that fills the empty spaces of our lives, offering comfort and reassurance in the moments when we feel lost. It is the strength that rises within us when we think we have nothing left to give. And it is always there, even in the darkest of times when we need it most. Sometimes the most difficult part of life is not the challenges themselves, but the way we perceive them. We see them as obstacles, as barriers that stand in our way, and we fight against them with all our might. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we saw those challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth, for strength, for transformation? What if we recognize that the struggles we face are not meant to break us, but to build us into something stronger, something more resilient? The hand that guides us is not one that removes the struggles from our lives. It doesn't shield us from pain or hardship. What it does is offer us the strength to face those struggles with grace, with courage, and with the knowledge that we are not alone. It offers us the wisdom to understand that every challenge, every obstacle, every heartbreak is an opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to become more than we were before. And when we embrace this truth, when we accept that the struggles we face are a part of our journey, we begin to understand that we are being shaped into something greater. The truth is, we are all on a journey that is uniquely our own. No one else can walk it for us, no one else can face the challenges we face, and no one else can experience the lessons we are meant to learn. But that doesn't mean we are alone. It doesn't mean we are meant to struggle in isolation. For even in our most solitary moments, when we feel like we are facing the world on our own, there is a hand that reaches out to us. There is a presence that walks beside us, guiding us, supporting us, and carrying us through it all. When you feel as though you are walking through the storm, when the winds are howling and the rain is pouring, remember this: the storm is not the end of the journey. It is simply a part of it. The hand that guides you is not only there in the calm moments, but in the midst of the storm as well. It is there when you are unsure, when you are afraid, when you feel like giving up. It is there when the road is unclear, when the path is hidden, and when you can't see what lies ahead. And even when you don't know where to turn, even when the world seems to be falling apart, The hand that guides you is still there, holding you steady, offering you the strength to keep going. I know it's not always easy to trust in something we cannot see. It's not always easy to surrender to a force greater than ourselves, especially when life feels uncertain and out of control. But trust is not about having all the answers. It is about believing that even when we don't know the way, we are not walking alone. Trust is about knowing that we are being guided even when the path seems unclear. It is about recognizing that the struggles we face are not in vain, but are part of a greater process, a process of growth and transformation that will eventually lead us to a place of greater understanding, greater strength, and greater peace. In every moment, you are being guided. In every breath, you are being supported. In every step, you are being carried. And though the road may be difficult at times, though the journey may seem long, know that you are never alone. The hand that guides you is always there, steady and unchanging, even when you feel lost or uncertain. It is the hand that has always been with you and always will be, leading you toward the person you are meant to become. So the next time you find yourself standing at the crossroads, unsure of which way to go, remember this: you are not alone. The hand that guides you is with you, always. And no matter what the future holds, no matter what challenges lie ahead, you will never have to face them alone. The strength you seek, the courage you need, and the peace you desire are already within you, waiting to be realized. And as you walk your journey, know that you are being carried every step of the way. In the quiet moments when everything else fades away, when the world becomes a distant hum, there is a deeper connection that pulses beneath the surface of our daily lives. It is a connection that often goes unnoticed, a force that works silently but powerfully, holding us steady even when we don't realize it. It is a presence that watches over us, guiding us when the way seems unclear and helping us stand when we feel too weak to go on. This is not something abstract or distant. It is woven into the very fabric of our being, an unseen hand that reaches out, touches us, and provides us with the strength to move forward, even when it feels impossible. We often find ourselves looking outward for answers, for reassurance, for someone or something to give us the direction we need. We search for validation from others, for signs that we are on the right path, for clear-cut answers that will make the journey easier. But the truth is, the answers we seek are not always out there in the world around us. Sometimes they are hidden in the quiet, in the stillness of our hearts, in the moments when we stop fighting and simply allow ourselves to be. In those moments, the connection to the strength that guides us becomes clear, and we realize that we have always been carried, even when we felt like we were walking alone. When the noise of the world becomes overwhelming, when the pressure of expectations, both our own and others, feels suffocating, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that we are not meant to carry it all. We are not meant to bear the weight of the world on our shoulders. The challenges we face may feel heavy, but we are never asked to carry them by ourselves. There is always help, always support, always an unseen hand guiding us, even when we feel like we are standing at the edge of our strength. We don't always see this force, we don't always understand it, but it is there and it will never leave us. Life doesn't always give us the answers we want, and it doesn't always provide us with the clear path we hope for. There are times when we are thrust into uncertainty, when the road ahead is not just unclear but blocked by obstacles we can't seem to navigate. In those moments, it's easy to feel lost, to wonder if we will ever find our way. But here is something I want you to understand: it's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay to feel lost, to feel uncertain, because it is in those moments of uncertainty that we are most open to receiving the guidance that is always with us. When we stop trying to control everything, when we let go of the need to know everything, we create space for that guiding presence to step in and carry us forward. There is a power in letting go, a power in surrendering the need for perfection and accepting that we are not always going to have everything figured out. The more we resist, the harder it becomes to move forward. But when we trust, when we open ourselves to the possibility that we are being guided, the road ahead becomes smoother, even in the face of obstacles. The strength we need is not something we must summon on our own. It is something that comes to us when we allow it to. It is the quiet support that holds us when we fall, the gentle hand that helps us up, the steady force that keeps us moving forward, even when we can't see the end of the road. The hardest part is often the beginning, the first step. The first step is the one that feels the most daunting, the one that seems to carry the most weight. It's the moment when the uncertainty feels unbearable, when the doubt creeps in, telling us that we're not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough to take the leap. But here is where the unseen hand is most present. When we feel like we can't take that first step, it is that guiding presence that gently nudges us, reassuring us that we don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to know where the path will lead. We only have to take that first step, trusting that we will be carried. We must also remember that the journey is never a straight line. There are twists and turns, ups and downs, moments of joy and sorrow. And in each of those moments, we are being shaped, molded, and prepared for what is to come. The pain we experience, the struggles we face, they are not signs of weakness. They are the things that prepare us for greater things ahead. And through it all, the guiding hand is with us, helping us grow, helping us learn, helping us become who we are meant to be. It is in those moments when we feel the most uncertain, when we are unsure of what to do next, that we are called to trust. Trust not in our own strength alone, but in the strength that works through us. Trust that the challenges we face are not there to defeat us, but to help us become stronger, more resilient, and more connected to the power that guides us. Trust that we are not walking this journey alone, and that no matter how difficult the road may seem, we will always find the strength to keep going. I know there are times when the journey feels overwhelming, times when it seems like there is no end in sight and the weight of it all feels too much to bear. But in those moments, it's important to pause, take a deep breath, and remind ourselves that we are not alone. There is always a hand, always a presence, always a guiding force that is there for us even when we don't see it. And when we trust in that force, when we surrender to it and allow it to lead us, we find that the strength we need is already within us. It has always been there, quietly waiting for us to acknowledge it. So as you move through life, as you face the challenges that come your way, remember this: you are never alone. You are being carried, supported, and guided every step of the way. And even when the path ahead is unclear, even when you don't know how you will make it through, trust that you are not walking alone. The hand that guides you is always there, steady and unwavering, helping you find your way even in the darkest of times. And with each step you take, you will grow stronger, wiser, and more connected to the strength that has always been within you. As you continue your journey, I want you to carry with you the knowledge that you are never truly alone. In the moments of doubt, in the moments of struggle, in the quiet spaces between each step, know that there is an unseen force that is guiding you, holding you, and carrying you forward. Life may be unpredictable, and the path may not always be clear, but the strength you need to move through it all is always there within you and around you. When you feel as though the weight of the world is too much to bear, when the road ahead seems impossible, trust that you are supported. Trust that the challenges you face are not meant to break you, but to shape you into the person you are meant to become. In every moment, you are being guided. In every step, you are being carried. So as you face the unknown, remember this simple truth: you are not alone. The hand that guides you is always there, steady and unwavering. And as you walk step by step toward whatever lies ahead, know that with every challenge you overcome, with every moment of uncertainty you face, you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined. Keep trusting, keep moving forward, and above all, remember that you are held, you are supported, and you are never, ever alone.